Hey guys, Jacqueline Fernandez here at the Alert Center. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Per usual on Tuesdays, we are talking to the Better Business Bureau's Josh Planos. We're talking about a huge warning. There's this cattle farm. They call themselves Miniature Highland Cattle Farm. And they're impersonating legitimate Nebraska cattle farm sales to consumers. So while this is just one example of what to look out for this specific business, there are tips that can help you at home as well. Just kind of make sure that you don't fall victim to a similar scam. So let me introduce Josh Planos, who's going to join us now to chat a little bit more about this. Josh, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. So this is interesting. So I'm looking at the Better Business Bureau form that you kind of gave me as a heads up, and there's this complaint against Miniature Highland Cattle Farm, which allegedly raises and sells cattle. But I guess you called, so you did some phoning around, checking in with the police department. This is just fake, right?
Yeah, this is not a licensed company, but this business does claim to operate out of an address in Broken Bow, Nebraska, which is actually the existing address of a real company, a real cattle farm known as Rolling 7 Mini Highlands. So this is a real business. We've been in touch with the owner there, who has reported receiving a lot of calls from confused consumers who mistakenly believe she's associated with this impersonating business, this Miniature Highland Cattle Farm. An impersonation, Jacqueline, is a dime a dozen. It's never been easier in all of human history to lift someone else's work and repurpose it as your own. We saw this a little bit earlier this year with an Omaha steak factory, which of course was preying
Right.
on the branding and reputation of Omaha steaks. But again, this is an incredibly misleading and illegal form of business. This is not business at all, right? And we have
Yes.
received dozens of complaints against this business, this Miniature Highland Cattle Farm, which does not exist, right? And it's a good
Right.
reminder that just because you see something online and it has glossy photos or it looks like it would be a legitimate source, it doesn't mean it is, right? So you want to do your due diligence. You want to look up that company. Certainly now, anytime you look up Miniature Highland Cattle Farm online, you will see that, at least on their business profile, there is a glaring sign that this is an F-rated business, that there has been an investigation that has been resolved into this entity, and that it's not worthy of your time and consideration. But all told, Jacqueline, we've received more than 50 inquiries about this so-called business. And
Right.
it's sadly duped a lot of people into paying a lot of money for cattle that does not exist.
Sure, and I was going to say, and today is actually Farm Worker Appreciation Day too, so a timely, reason to chat about this as we thank all of our farmers out there for what they do. But yeah, this is just, and the business currently has an F rating on its BBB business profile, so this is all kind of making sense, right? And so it's always good. You can check in with bbb.org to kind of make sure and find out and do your research before you hand over some cash.
Without question. And some of the red flags that I think are worth addressing are that, at least with the inquiries that we received, customers told us that they were forced to pay for this cattle through peer-to-peer payment methods. So there was
Right.
no credit card option, right? It was Zelle, it was Cash App, it was things that did not have those additional layers of security that you would want, right? At any time, whether it's you're buying ice cream or you're buying cattle, that someone is demanding that you pay with peer-to-peer payment methods and no other payment methods are accepted, that is a red flag. That is a bright red flag that you should absolutely take note of and probably walk away from the experience of just on its own, right? Because that is it suggests that this business is not reputable. It suggests that this business is demanding payment that actually leaves the customer, the consumer, at a disadvantage. And so that is something that folks hopefully will make note of moving forward. But also, we talked a little bit about how reputable that the images look. It looks like
Right.
you would find the cattle at this place, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
not a
always go back to
guarantee
this
that
video you sent. I mean, yeah, don't judge a book by its cover, right? So,
without a question. And truly, I mean, it takes a couple of clicks and a copy paste to really repurpose someone else's work as your own. And it's really sad that it's that simple for so many scammers out there. But it's a cautionary tale for a lot of folks to do their due diligence and again slow down. If you have a
right.
transaction that is value, for instance, if you're buying cattle, right, you want to make sure all of your ducks are in a row. You've checked every foreseeable box to ensure that that transaction is secure and that that business is reputable before you agree to any terms or conditions.
Exactly. And we have some following information on how to identify a fake website. So when you see that those, beautiful steer and cattle kind of roaming the grasslands there, that could just be, some eye candy for you. So we have a couple tips here. You say, look closely at the domain name, watch out for tricky subdomains, be careful with links in emails, pay attention to contact information and shop policies, and then do a search for reviews and potential scams. So you've kind of talked a little bit about those just through our discussion this afternoon. Talk to us about the domain name. What is that exactly for people who may not know?
Yeah, so the URL that you're typing on or typing in or clicking on if it's an ad really gives a lot of information that we might not be aware of. Right. Again, if all you're looking for are glossy images, you can find those in a whole lot of places on the internet in 2024. The reality, though, is that the URL suggests that the company name, and in this case, it wasn't a clear giveaway. But if we're talking about impersonation scams, there are a whole lot of companies that are pretending to be Amazon online
Right.
that are one or two characters difference from the actual reputable company. And that's something to be aware of, especially with how commonplace mobile shopping is nowadays. Now, I can't say for certain that these folks were buying cattle on their cell phone, but a lot of us are buying a lot of things on our cell phone, and you get an abridged URL every single time you click into Safari or Chrome or whatever your preferred browser is. There's
Yeah.
a lot of details that you really don't have access to. And when we're talking about one character differences between a reputable domain name or a reputable company and a fraudulent one or someone who's outright scamming people, it's really important that you are double and triple checking that URL. And that requires a couple of clicks on a cell
Right.
phone. So it's something, again, to slow yourself down and to walk through all of the necessary details before you provide any personal or payment information to this company.
Yeah, and that's just great advice, Josh, per usual. I really appreciate your time today at the Alert Center. Was there anything else you wanted to add today, or does that pretty much cover it?
Very grateful for these folks for coming forward with their stories.
Yes.
We spoke with them. We would not be able to put out an investigation like this, an alert like this, if we didn't know it was happening. Right? It's
Right.
very important that you bring that information forward. Some people lost $2,200. Some
Yeah.
people lost no money at all. Both stories matter. The
Yes.
important thing is you have to come forward with it to alert folks that they don't need to, experience that. So
Mhm.
please come forward. BBB Scam Tracker, bbb.org/scam tracker, rather, is our URL. And please let us know if you experience something.
Wonderful. Yeah, and I was just showing people earlier who were kind of tuned in on our social media app and platforms and whatnot. Yeah, that you make it really easy for us. So you just kind of type things in and click the button like you saw earlier and just kind of go from there. So Josh Planos with the Better Business Bureau, thank you again for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, guys, if you were just joining us at the Alert Center, we just said goodbye to Josh Planos with the Better Business Bureau. He was chatting with us about a warning. This miniature Highland Cattle Farm is impersonating legitimate Nebraska cattle farms to scam consumers. So even if you are not a cattle farm owner, operator, or not a farmer on this Farm Worker Appreciation Day, just have to get that in there as well. There's still a lot that Josh was telling me you can learn from this. So he says, most importantly, from this scam itself, learn how to identify fake website. So he was just talking about look closely at the domain name, watch out for tricky subdomains, be careful with links and emails. Basically, the takeaway from that is just kind of pay attention. You want to know where you're clicking. You want to know where your money is headed. So as we move forward, we're going to quickly take a look outside. Finally, a reprieve, right, from all that just awful heat out there. It's kind of been just muggy and awful. And then today, my goodness, I opened my doors on the balcony and we have this, just what I would like to call a gorgeous day in the metro comparatively to what we've been experiencing, what with the storms and whatnot. So this is a look at Blackstone camera. We can cut over to Children's Nebraska camera, kind of gives you a glimpse of the cloudy sky as well. And then lastly, we'll head to 144th and Dodge. So traffic flowing smoothly there. And, the cloud cover, as far as I'm concerned, is welcome at this point. But just also want to kind of let you know, if you would like more information on any of the stories we're currently working on, you can always head to our website. That's WOWT.com. Let me refresh this for you. So our top story right now, Kellogg's to close the Omaha plant. And you can kind of scroll down and get our top headlines, etc. And of course, we will have more for you during our first broadcast later this evening. But until then, I'm Jacqueline Fernandez at the Alert Center. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day.